Get over here!
Yep, I hear it.
Okay, where are you? Aha! Okay, it took us a while to find that, but we got it. That's a pretty well hidden one, not gonna lie, despite how out in the open it is.
Yeah, another one down.
Alright, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 12? 13?
13.
13, thank you. Episode 13 of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I am the Green Scorpion.
I'm the ComicFoil,
and in the last episode, we defeated this guy, but we gotta do it again because we reset things.
Yeah, I made him go back and look for that Skulltula, and at one point we played the song Sun, and the song Sun.
The song Sun. The son of the Song of Time. The son of the Song of Sun. Anyway.
You know, like if Ra had a kid, he would be the Sun's son.
And not to be confused with Sun from the hit classic Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Yeah.
So, yep, today we're hitting the Forest Temple, everybody, and I love this place.
There are five gold Skulltulas here, but all of them should be pretty easy to find. I'll try and point them out as we get to them.
I remember one is all the way up the top here. We gotta climb these vines.
Yeah, one of them is in this room.
So yeah, those who have played Ocarina of Time will recognize this beautiful theme.
This place has such a great, beautiful, eerie feel to it.
Absolutely. And that is like something I wish to like discuss with you and kind of like theorize a little bit, because there are some things about like Ocarina of Time and just like the general feel of this game like as a whole that I feel is like fascinating, not just in its simplicity, but also in the fact that like there is a certain mystique to it, as you've expressed in previous episodes. There we go. We needed to come up here anyway.
People get a lot into like trying to figure out like what the purpose of all the temples were.
Yes.
Like, is this just a temple that represents the Forest Sage? Is this just where the Forest Sage is supposed to pray, or did it serve an additional purpose?
Mm-hmm. The main thing with this place, as a matter of fact, and like again, we can like kind of like...
I love that the hook shot just like pierces through their shell, too.
Yeah, no, I love that detail. But yeah, one thing about this place that like... Because like, you look at this room specifically, right? This does not look like you're just like your average everyday temple. Like, this place like has an architecture. There is a purpose to it.
There were a lot of theories about these four Poes. I forget them, though. I forget what the theories about them were, but basically this all comes down to we need to light these four torches again, and that means getting back the fires that those torches took.
Yeah, I'll admit the first time I played this game, my immediate thought was, oh, we can light the torches, we can just, like, use Din's fire. No, it has to be
special
those
fire.
Specific bits of fire.
Can you go to the far door, though, of, like, what would have been directly across us when we entered?
Yeah.
And just head up there, and there's another Skulltula over here, to your right.
Not what I meant to do! To the right?
Yep. Walk to your... yeah.
Ah, there it is. Beautiful.
Alright, and besides that, to your own devices.
Alright, I shall endeavor to go about this. Again, like, there is a very clear architecture to this place, but there's also kind of a sort of this place definitely has, like, different things. Like, there's a garden, there's kind of a living space.
There's
like
an art gallery.
Like, there's that central area, like, seems to be, like, a sort of, like, plaza, in a way.
Yeah.
So there was a clear, like, purpose to this, like, whole temple. And, like, part of the fun of, like, Ocarina of Time and just, like, you know, trying to speculate everything that goes on with this game is trying to piece together what these places were originally for. So I'd like to hear your take on that. Like, what do you think the Forest Temple was originally for?
I mean, I think it was for prayer, but that the building itself also, like, has a lot of amenities.
Mm-hmm.
For the people, like, I think this might have been... There are arrows painted on the floor. That there are. Like, I think this might have... A lot of these rooms might have been there to... Like this was, like, a full-on, like, abbey.
That was my thought, as a matter of fact. Like, one thing is, like, evidently clear about the Forest Temple. It was a place of worship.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. Can I, propose a sort of, like, theory behind it?
Okay.
I think this place is supposed to be a place of prayer for the Deku Tree.
Okay.
Like, it's one thing to have the Deku Tree there, but, like, obviously the Deku Tree is kind of, like, treated as a god to,
Yeah.
To the people of the Kokiri.
Now, us using the word god is kind of, like... I think maybe not quite the way to think about it, because, like, a guardian spirit, like, in our more Western world, the word god is what we think of those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But it's kind of more like a protector. It's a spiritual protector.
Yeah, which, like, in another way, like, if not for the Great Deku Tree, but, like, you could say that maybe the Great Deku Tree could be, like, the guardian spirit or, like, the patron of Faror. Because, like,
yeah.
The Kokiri Emerald clearly is supposed to be, like, reminiscent of Faror.
And the Great Deku Tree is definitely, I think, on a lower branch, if you will. It's of a lower level in the spiritual hierarchy as...
Yes.
Faror.
And, like, that kind of, like, leads into another bit, for, like, at least in my opinion, right? When it comes to, how, we view that. In that, because, like, obviously, like, those who have played the game know what's going to happen after we beat this place, right? The Deku Tree Sprout rises again after we take care of the evil in this place.
So maybe it's the prayer and the power of this place that allows the Great Deku Tree to grow?
To kind of, like, reconstitute, in a way. And that's kind of like my thought. Is that, like, yeah, this place is a place of prayer, a place for, like, Faror, but it was, like, also kind of like, again, an abbey, a church type of thing. Who knows? The Kokiri may have come here to not only, like, you know, pay respects to the Great Deku Tree or Faror, but also a place as, like, you know, a spiritual gathering, like, you know, getting together, doing some gardening, like, decorating the place with, like, artistic, like, pieces, things like that, because, like, one of the major areas in the Forest Temple is that, like, oh, I see. I need the bow and arrow to get past that.
Do you think we need to come back to this room later?
Probably. Yeah, let's explore other places for the time being.
This is what I'm thinking is, yeah, it was an abbey. It was a place for prayer. Sages are very important in multiple Zelda games, and there are things that there'll be sages of certain things. In this case, it's forest, fire, water, spirit, shadow, light. In other games, there'll be other kinds, like there'll be like a sage of wind and a sage of earth, or there'll be a sage of lightning in Breath of the Wild. Or rather, in Tears of the Kingdom. But sages generally have something to do with either, like, the Master Sword, or just, like, the light needed to protect this land or to smite evil. Something. So it's... These positions are supposed to always be filled, and the Legend of Zelda series takes place over such a long period of time that, like, those traditions and those rules change and get reinterpreted by the people in charge. But around this time, at least, something has happened that we're supposed to have these 6 sages, and these 6 sages aren't around. The only one that actually is around right now is Rauru. The other ones, we need to awaken the sage's power in a new sage. We need to awaken a new person for them to take the position, which is sort of like how, like, Link and Zelda and Ganondorf all seem to reincarnate.
Kind of in that similar vein of, like, the whole, like, reincarnation thing.
Yeah,
like, Saria could be either the reincarnation, or I guess you could say sort of a, like, spiritual vessel for the Forest Sage. Later on, we get Darunia, who's, like, the Sage of Fire, and so on and so forth.
So my question is always, did we just not have all of these sages before? Like, did Ganondorf kind of catch us with our pants down because we didn't have the sages ready? Or did they die when Ganondorf took over? Did he take them out? I tend to believe the latter. I think we had people in these positions, but when Ganondorf took over Hyrule 7 years ago in what must have been a very quick coup.
Yeah.
I think the other sages were all killed, and that's what necessitates us to awaken the sages in new candidates. It's not quite like the Avatar in Last Airbender, where, like, when an old sage dies, the next sage is born.
Mm-hmm.
It's not quite like that. It's more like, if you've ever watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, yes, I have.
There's one person who's the Slayer at any given time.
Yes.
And there's lots of people who are potential Slayers, but they won't awaken to their power until it's their time. So if the old Slayer falls in battle, a new person will awaken as the Slayer.
That thing was way slippier than it should have been.
And they're, like, already, like, a young adult. Like, they're already ready to be the Slayer.
Yep. Yeah, kind of like, again, in Legend of Zelda, there's always going to be a hero. There's always going to be a princess.
Yeah. So I think part of what's going on here is that there's an abbey here for prayer. Maybe the forest sage would come here a lot. Maybe they lived here.
There's the other Skulltula, by the way, I think.
Yeah.
But we can't grab him yet.
Yeah, we'd have to grab him from the other side there.
Yeah, and we're probably going to need the bow and arrow. Well, actually, no, we should be able to use the hookshot, but
yeah,
either way.
We need the hookshot anyway to collect the piece. So my thought kind of is that, like, there was a person who studied here, who prayed here.
Mm-hmm.
But the building itself, because, like, being a spiritual leader isn't necessarily something that gets you a lot of money.
Yeah.
I think there was a family that maybe financially owned or was in charge of upkeeping the place.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they were, like, aristocracy, and I think those are the 4 Poes that we deal with here.
Oh, okay.
They have become malignant or at least mischievous spirits.
That being said, like, I can also see the potential for, it just being, like, a position that someone held, like maybe the Forest Sage did hold that position, because I don't think the Kokiri are necessarily all too concerned about finances, if that makes any sense.
I don't think it was a Kokiri before either. I'm assuming it was a Hylian.
Fair enough, actually.
I think there might have been some Hylians who lived out here, and maybe even there wasn't one at the time when Ganondorf took over, because, like, this place doesn't look like it's in 7 years of disrepair. It looks like it's in, like, dozens, perhaps hundreds of years of disrepair.
Good point.
I think maybe without a need for it, the Kings of Hyrule allowed this place to lose its, like, function.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, like, there is definitely, like, a purpose behind why this place is the way it is and why it's structured that way. Because again, yeah, like, you're looking at, like, this architecture right here. Like, this is clearly supposed to be, like, a garden or, like, an activity area that, like, is supposed to be maintained. Like, this well right here, this place clearly had a water system that was utilized by this place.
I think a rich family owned this place, and then they were in with the Hyrulean royal family, and they also allowed the Sage of Forest to operate here.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in addition to owning this land and living in a great mansion, they also owned the land that happened to contain the temple that this sage prayed at. Like, I think praying was just a single function of this large building.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like, perhaps, like, a, like, big aristocratic mansion that eventually, like, got repurposed for that reason.
Yeah. It's maybe even possible, so, like, there might not have been a sage forest at the time, a forest sage at the time when Ganondorf took over. But, like, Ganondorf has very specifically spread his influence to these places.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he knows that, like, the best chance of him being defeated is to combine the power of the sages and try and seal him away. He has, like, understanding of that great power.
Oh, yeah, like...
So I think he's, like, moved his minions in to take up this place. And maybe he even made a deal with the owners of this place, who are now spirits, who are now Poe. Maybe in a similar way that he has with Ingo. You know, he's put people who are loyal to him in places of power.
Oh, yeah, like... One thing about Ganondorf is that I appreciate is the fact that he is very speculated to be, like, genre savvy. Like, the guy's not an idiot. Like, he knows what could potentially be a threat to him, and to him, that, like, his priority is to put a stop to that.
Yeah. And he knows that, like, Link and Zelda are gonna, like, do all the work for him of getting those 3 spiritual stones. I think just in case they weren't up to the task, he was already kind of doing the work of getting into those places. Like, he made the Deku Tree sick. He brought back the Dodongos.
I love these enemies, by the way. The Stalfos.
Yeah, good old Stalfos.
Good to see you guys.
It makes sense in Breath of the Wild that they just, like, have skeletal versions of regular enemies, but I kind of miss when Stalfos were their own thing. I mean, technically they're working off of the same, like, movement set as a Lizalfo, but they feel different.
It's also just, like, nice. Again, like, I've expressed this before, right? I know some people, like, I'm going to go ahead and, like, address the obvious, like, criticism here. Like, Egoraptor has, like, expressed, like, the grievance that, like, a lot of these enemies are just, like, wait and react enemies. But, again, I'm going to defend that notion. One, because you gotta keep it simple, especially for a game that's, like, you're going to be your first major endeavor into 3D. And 2, I'm sorry, it still feels amazing to be able to, like, have a good old bona fide sword and shield fight, like, you know, with, like, humanoid enemies like that, even in a game like this.
Yeah.
So I'm a defender of that decision.
That sequelitis video doesn't really bother me, but...
It doesn't, but, like, you know... it doesn't bother me, but I know it bothers, like, a lot of people, and, like, you know... I know someone, at the very least at one point or another in our comments, I've seen it already, are going to ask us to maybe, like, address that at one point.
Yeah, I talked to somebody in the comments about it.
Like, personally, like, you know... As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to Egoraptor's video about this game, the guy has an opinion.
Yeah.
And, like,
I think
it is a very valid opinion.
I think he expresses the opinion well. Like, nothing he says in the video is wrong.
Oh, no, not at all. Like...
It was hard for me when I first listened to it because I'm such a Zelda fan, and I was like, oh no, this creator I liked hates the game I like. Is the game bad? But, like, no, it's okay to hear negative criticism of things you like.
Part of loving something is the willingness to be able to criticize the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Like, no questions asked. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where I'm supposed to go because there's a lot of, like... this place is a labyrinth. I think there might be a place I can go here.
Yeah, maybe we missed something.
Like, I might have missed something earlier. Oh, you know what? I think I know, actually, now I think about it. So instead of, like, pulling, let me... Okay, no. I gotta push. Or, I gotta pull.
Yeah, so we need some way to get onto the other side of that now.
Oh, you know what? Hang on. No.
I think just backtrack now. Maybe now that we pulled it out of the wall some, we can find a way to get behind it.
Yeah, I'm just keeping an eye out right now.
Ladder?
Yeah, no, I remember going through here before, but I don't remember seeing the thing. Ah, there it is. There we go. Yeah, because I think what I was doing is, like, I was too focused on that arrow thing that I didn't realize there was a little cubby here.
Well, we got another Skulltula we wanted. We got a key.
And I think I got a head start on a couple of other things because, like, I think when I was, like, climbing those vines to get the dungeon map, I was supposed to be stopped by that one Skulltula, the regular Skulltula, but I happened to circumvent it, so, hey, it is what it is.
I remember playing this one and my mom watching me play it a little bit.
Yeah?
She was just, like, reading in the room where I was playing it. And I was dying a lot. And at one point I was, like, running through this part to get back to the like, mini-boss.
Yeah?
And she was like, how do you know where you're going? I'm like, because this is the third time I'm going to this boss, and I just know now. That's my, like, that's the part of this place that, like, sticks in my memory.
Yeah, that is adorable.
Because I've never been a person that's very good with directions.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I don't, like, I need a navigator to get places, and I'll second guess myself all the time of, like, what is the quicker way to get somewhere when I'm driving.
Mm-hmm. Alright, so now with this...
Love this room.
This corridor is all twisted.
Yeah, what spawned this whole spiel?
Errant magic, I guess.
And this.
Watch out for shadows of monsters that hang from the ceiling.
This is another reason why I was running through that room a bunch of times.
I never liked these things as a kid.
Yeah.
I hated them.
Well, it's good that we have both keys, then, to get through here, so it is good that we went to the courtyard.
Yeah, no, like, I remember that was a thing, and I kind of, like, figured, like, I was like, okay, no, it's a good thing I got this, like, this early. So, like, honestly, like, me, like, going around and going through the courtyard and, like, through the garden area, it's a good thing.
Aren't there also Stalfos that you have to bomb after you defeat them?
I'm not sure.
I think there might be ones that, like, reanimate if you don't bomb them.
Oh, you know what? No, that might be, I think you might be thinking of other games.
Maybe.
Also, why can you do that?
Is that an invisible floor?
No, like, Stalfos can just do that.
You want to drink that milk?
Yup.
Taking a milk break.
So is this Ocarina of Time's version of, like, pausing in Tears of the Kingdom and eating food?
Yep. It's absolutely that.
There we go. Okay, one more.
So I got a cool question here off the Discord. It's not like a giant question, but I think this is a fun one.
Yeah?
This one comes from A Silly Blade.
Yeah?
If you could replace the Master Sword with a different kind of weapon, what would it be? Like, imagine, like, the powers of, like the weapon of Evil's Bane wasn't a sword, it was something else.
I want to be, like, I want to try and, like, be creative about it and, like, you know, can contemplate, oh, what other possibilities could it be? I'm gonna be honest with you, I keep going back to spear.
Yeah.
Like, spears are also, like, big in, like, hero lore. Like, you know, characters like Cuchulainn.
Yeah.
There is a whole thing in, like, Greek mythology with the spear of the gods type of thing.
Yeah.
And, hey, we got the fairy bow! So, if there's one thing that Link is known for, it's swordsmanship, but close second, definitely archery.
Yeah, because I mean, now as of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, he uses pretty much anything he can get his hands on.
Mm-hmm. So, what was the door we went through?
I think it was this one.
Yes!
Wait, don't you have to go through the other way then?
Nope.
Right.
Yeah, because if you get too close...
It's cool how this is basically teaching you the mechanic that you're going to use on the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
Can you try and get a Navi scan on that?
Yes, I can. Joelle, one of the Poe sisters.
I believe the names of the Poe sisters are taken from Little Women.
Oh?
Yeah, I think they're named after the sisters from Little Women.
Huh! I didn't know that.
Yep. They have another naming convention in the original Japanese, but... Yeah, in this they're Amy, Beth, Joelle, and Meg. Which is from Little Women, which is the book by Louisa May Alcott.
Oh, cool!
Written in 1868 and 1869 in 2 volumes.
Yeah, I never actually knew that.
But I'm interested in what their Japanese names mean.
There we go. Alright, we're doing good so far. As for whether we're going to be able to finish this in one episode is, up in the air for me right now, because we're already 30 minutes in.
Yeah.
Still, we're doing pretty good so far. Let me actually go back. Because again, this place gets really wild once you start incorporating the puzzles with the arrows. Yeah, because like navigating this place is like strange. There it is.
I can't find anything else on the Japanese name of the Poe sisters, but yeah.
Yeah, someone in the comments,
Oh.
let us know if what the case is with that.
Wow, I was not looking at the screen. You're at the blue one already.
Yep.
So what's this one?
Right. This is Beth. Beth in blue. I don't know if that's blue.
It is blue, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah, you nailed it. Pat was telling me how he, for the Monster Hunter stream, how he wore a blue and purple outfit just to mess with you.
Oh, you can actually use the hookshot to pull her to you.
Yeah, and it does damage, so that's great.
Let me actually try something. Never mind. I'm just gonna go ahead and finish her off. I would like it if that were the compass.
That'd be nice. We don't exactly need more rupees. There we go.
With arrows piercing it.
Yeah.
Alright, so on that note... Yup, there we go. So I believe if we go out here... Yes. Okay, I see. Let's actually, go back this way and see where this will lead us.
I know there'll be another gold Skulltula in the courtyards. And there will be one in the final room before the boss. Ugh.
Yup. Isn't there a way you can actually, like, get those things, like, trick those things with a backflip or something?
Yeah, I think if you move at the last second, they'll drop down and you can kill them. You are out of keys, though.
Yeah, so we need to come back here later, it seems.
Well, I know if you go back to the one block room, now that you have the bow, you can hit some of those switches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's probably what we're gonna have to do. Yeah, like, for all the times I've played this game, I've never managed to get the timing of backflipping in order to get those, like, wall masters to actually show up so we can defeat them. If only because I was always just way too scared of them, so I was just like, no, I'm not gonna bother, I'm just gonna look.
Run. Yeah.
Yeah. I never liked the floor masters.
They're freaky.
Freaky hands. Don't grab at me with those freaky hands. Please.
Yeah, I could definitely see there being, like, a Master Spear, though.
Yeah, Master Spear.
Master Axe. I don't want to, like, get too silly with, like, a Master Scythe or something like that. Like, that wouldn't be what they call it, but...
Axes are often also considered, like, very, like, prominent, like, hero weapons, but they also, like, are often associated with, like, the more darker side of a certain, mythos. Like, probably the most, like, prolific example of that would be, Kratos' Leviathan Axe.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like, he is clearly supposed to be the hero of the, like, Norse pantheon at that point. But let's not pretend that he is the hero type.
It's gonna feel... It feels a lot more brutal.
Yeah, spears were always, like, for me personally, like, always the more heroic ones because they were, like, the weapons of, like, you know, the most common soldiers type of thing. Because, like, that's the thing about spears that I always found interesting is that, like...
They're one of the first weapons we invented, really.
One of the first weapons we invented, and some of the most common weapons to outfit your army, because for all intents and purposes, spears are not hard to learn.
Yeah.
Like, they are very simple.
And not hard to make.
Not hard to make, not hard to use, because they are simple tools at the end of the day.
To quote Game of Thrones, you stick them with the pointy end.
Yep.
Though in that scene, she is referring to a sword.
It's also kind of funny, too, because, in The Legend of Zelda, bows are also given a lot of, emphasis, because, like, you know, there's the whole, Zelda using the bow of light type of thing.
That's why I wouldn't pick a bow, because, like, there already is a bow that does that.
Mm-hmm. I just find it kind of like...
Oh, go across that, where the hearts are. Oh, did we already get the Skulltula that was up here?
No, we did not.
Nice.
As I was saying, though, right?
Yep.
Curious bit is because I'm pretty sure that was, like, one of the inspirations in regards to Genealogy of the Holy War and Thracia 776 and Fire Emblem, because two of the weapons you can get in those games are the Meisterschwert and the Meisterbogen, which are the Master Sword and the Master Bow.
Oh.
Although I still have, like, painful memories of the freaking Meisterschwert, because that's the one held by, freaking...
Oh, there's a Wallmaster.
Ow.
He's creepy and he's kooky. Mysterious and spooky. Smaller hands.
Sorry, Hans.
Oh, Hans!
Hans! Kommen Sie her. Do you remember years and years and years ago when you invited your friends to inhabit the forest temple? And you're grabbing at these little kids with the green tunic. It's creepy. And I'm very tired of pretending that it is not creepy.
What are you doing? You sent him back to the beginning. You think he's going to go
I'm
home?
mama.
This is pretty important to him. I think you should just kill him. He's not going to leave. Now this plant, he eats at the boy. He bites, he chomps. That is more effective.
That is far more... He's not very good at it, but it is a far more permanent solution. That's what you're trying to do.
I like what he is trying to do.
Oh man, to anyone who knows who I'm referring to on TikTok, the guy's a legend, but also Hans is just a very, like, you know, German name.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we didn't show it off yet, but, like, those, bubbles, I think they're called bubbles?
That is what they're called.
Yeah, why? I don't know.
It made more sense in the original Zelda when they were just kind of like, they were skull heads, but from what you were seeing, they were just kind of bouncing around the room.
That's true.
But they've kept the name Bubbles.
But, like, we haven't showed it off yet, but one thing that they do that is, like, kind of annoying sometimes is that if they do hit you with that flame, you get cursed, so you can't, like, use the, the sword for a little while.
Yeah.
Thankfully, this game has plenty of avenues for how to go about it when it comes to both combat and exploration.
So is there anything else in here, or do we need to go back to the central room? now?
We need to go back to the central room. So I'm making my way around. Because we need to go back to that one hallway that twists. Because now that we have a key, we can go all the way back.
Oh, yeah.
And open up that one room where the lava bubbles were in the hallway.
Yes, okay.
But yeah, something tells me we're going to need to, like, tackle, like, the second half of this, like, place in the next episode, because we're already hitting the 40-minute mark.
Yeah.
But still, pretty good progress so far. Again, when you're an adult, these, Oh, you know what?
I think you need to go back and hit the button again to twist.
Yes, I do. I guess I didn't. That didn't register for me at a certain point because like the eye was closed.
Yeah, it's confusing. Can you even?
Should be able to. Let me get rid of these lava bubbles these bubbles because I don't want to deal with freaking curses here. There we go.
Yeah.
Got it.
So those are curse bubbles, and lava bubbles / fire bubbles just burn you.
Yes.
And just do damage.
Admittedly, though, I think the term lava bubble came up in mind because I've been playing Mario.
Okay.
Because that's what those guys are called, the lava bubbles.
Yeah. Yeah, here might be fire bubbles and cursed bubbles.
What do you think of my speedrun tech?
And cobra bubbles.
Alright, so on that note, guys, I think we're going to go ahead and, like, save the next part of this dungeon for the next episode because we are kind of coming up on time here. So, on that note, I'm the Green Scorpion.
I'm the ComicFoil.
And thank you guys for joining us for this episode of Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In the next episode, we're finishing up the Forest Temple. As soon as I can navigate to where I need to go. So, we'll see y'all then.
Yeah, don't, try not to catch these hands.
I don't want to catch these hands. The only hands I want to catch are freaking Monk Mas Koshias, because at least that fight's awesome.
Does he really use his hands? I think he uses a sickle.
He uses a sword, one of those like Zonai swords.
Okay.
But like I see like the beginning part of the fight where he's like preparing himself and is like, in the name of the goddess Hylia, catch these hands.
Oh, right. Right, the meme.
I still love that comment.